This is the University of Leeds. With over 32,000 students, it is one of the country's largest and most successful universities. The university is also a big employer in the region, employing over 7,000 staff. In fact, it is the third biggest employer in Leeds, only being beaten by the NHS and Leeds City Council.
Hello, I'm Monique Hollinshead and I teach here in the School of Performance and Cultural Industries, and the other part of my life is spent freelancing, and I make costumes for theatre and television. One of the techniques that I use quite a lot as a freelancer is scaling, and I've got an example here to show you, which is just a general way of using scaling, which is making a corset from using a scaled down diagram that's contained in this book and scaling it up. You use it in quite an unmathematical way, actually, in that you use the little measure which has got it in inches down here, and you use it just to gauge the width of the panels, because you would be cutting this for an individual, whereas this corset was made for an individual who lived a long time ago and wouldn't necessarily fit your actress. Although this costume here would be used for a period drama, a lot of the costumes I do are prop costume, and they involve problem solving. And one of the problems I had with this was I was making some costumes for a TV programme called My Parents Are Aliens on children's ITV, and they needed the main character, Brian, to have a giant pair of boxing gloves. The idea being that he had to walk in dragging his knuckles on the floor, but they had to be completely like real boxing gloves. From the boxing glove that I had, the normal-sized one, I worked out that if the knuckles had to drag on the floor, the crucial measurement was this one, the wrist to the knuckles. And so what I did was measure, or gauge, how tall Tony, the actor, was. And he was 6'3", and worked out roughly how far from his arm to the ground. And then that worked out at 5 times the length of this. So what I realised was I would have to scale up by 5 to get a good pattern. Rather than unpick my boxing glove, because I thought I might want to use it again, I took a pattern by laying calico, which is a plain cotton fabric, onto the various areas to work out exactly, an exact pattern for the glove. Then I times up by 5 and came up with, this is the example of the outside thumb, came up with a pattern. I only did one because when you're cutting out anything that's a mirror image, a pair of things or 2 sides of a costume, you basically fold the fabric and cut it twice, getting a right and left side. So that's a bit about scale, but my colleagues who do set design, which is where they make the constructions that appear on the stage, have much more problems in that they have to scale up from 1 to 25. They make a model, and then the model is used along with ground plans by people like carpenters and lighting designers to work out exactly the dimensions that they're after for the furniture and the scenery on stage.